Hello Internet, welcome to another halfway completed repair video, courtesy of the one and only Adventure Link, the host, owner, and founder of this channel. And this is my channel, so what more was you expecting them? The Ninja Turtles? Well, Ninja Turtles ice cream season on the ice cream truck is almost upon us. But in today's video, we're going to replace the lower control arm and ball joint on your 2004 Mercury Grand Marquis GS, though this could apply to any of the Panthers as a whole. Just as a fair warning before getting started, this nut down here, if your new ball joint / control arm assembly does not come with this nut, you will need to run to the Ford lot to get a new one. Keep that in mind before you get started on this project. And step 0 is to disable the air suspension if your vehicle has one. That's why it's step 0, because your vehicle may or may not have one. Step 1 would be to get your vehicle up in the air. In this regard, we got jack stands, but you can use a forearm lift or a drive-on lift. Do not use ramps; they will not be of any help to you. Make sure that your vehicle is safe and secured, because safety, structural integrity, quality, the right tools and parts for the right job, and doing the job right the first time, every time, are all number 1. Step 2 would be to remove the tire, 5 lugs, 21 millimeters or 13/16. Step 3, remove the brake hardware. Just as a fair warning before getting started, the caliper may fight you and be impossible to get off, so you may want to take a pry bar or a long, thick, flat blade screwdriver, like this, and get inside the caliper vent holes, which are these little things down here, and pry the brake pads alongside the piston, so that way they'll compact inside and be easier to take the caliper off. After that, the caliper bolts up top are 14 or 15 millimeters. After that, there's the 2 pad bracket bolts that normally would be here. They're 18 millimeters. Another fair warning here, either these bolts may fight you every step of the way, so be sure to have some penetrating oil or one of these cheater bars on your ratchet, so that way it'll be easier to get off. From there, the pad and the pad bracket slide off, and the rotor slides on and off just like a tire. Step 4 is to remove the sway bar link. Looks like this. This stud here at the end has a head for a 7 millimeter socket. This is the 15 millimeter nut. What you want to do is loosen the 15 millimeter nut. Then put your 7 millimeter socket. Then put your 7 millimeter socket up here. Then put an open-end 15 millimeter box wrench on the nut. Have your ratchet going in the clockwise position to move the stud, so that way it'll loosen the nut and you can get it off by hand. Same deal up here. Then it just slides off from down here, and then this top part slides up here from the steering knuckle. And when you put it back in, you should have this facing out, the top end facing out of the steering knuckle, and this part facing the sway bar. Next thing you want to do is remove the nut here that holds the lower ball joint to the steering knuckle. This is between 20 and 24 millimeters. Just as a fair warning, just like with the sway bar links, this stud here may or may not have a provision for a socket head or an Allen key head. So you may want to take a pry bar and pry down at the top here to keep the ball joint from spinning. Additionally, when you get it down far enough, you may want to take a vice grip and hold it down, so that way the ball joint doesn't spin when you remove the nut. Additionally, you may want to use an acetylene torch or a propane torch on this nut. What we used in class was something called a Bernzomatic Fat Boy. It comes in a yellow or blue can. And of course, know the trigger for it too. And you need to melt the Teflon and all that out of this nut to remove it. Next thing you want to do is remove the strut nuts, the ones that are in a triangular formation. There's one here, one here, one here. 13 millimeters, get them all out. Just as a fair warning, do not mess with the center nut here. This holds the strut together. Messing with the center nut can compromise the structural integrity of the spring and the compression, which when loosened and especially removed, can cause personal injury, property damage, or death. Again, do not mess with this nut. only the 3 triangular nuts. Next thing you want to do is remove the strut nut down here. It is 24 millimeters. Go ahead and remove that now. Next thing you want to do is remove 3 nuts, or 3 bolts rather. One here, and one on the other side of this bushing thing here. You can't see it from my position, but there is one back there as well. These are all 15 millimeters. Go ahead and remove them now. Then the next thing you want to do is remove this nut and this stud right there. 18 millimeters gets this stud out, or 18 millimeters gets the nut out rather, sorry. 8 millimeters gets the stud out. You'll need to do this on both sides of the vehicle. And the next thing you want to do is this nut right here. Remove that nut. I believe that's also 24 millimeters. Go ahead and remove the nut now. Then the next thing you want to do is remove this bolt and this bolt over here that holds everything to the frame and to the strut. Just as a fair warning, this bolt back here is a biatch to remove. This is why I had to remove this stud the stud nut here, and the one on the other side, because you will need a buddy to pry back on the top on the steering rack, and you'll have to finesse it, and you'll have to finesse that bolt in and out of there. And you might as well finesse it out of there and pry on the steering rack carefully anyway, because as a heads up, you will need to do an alignment when this job is over. Then from here, reverse of removal is your installation. And just as a fair warning, when you install this nut down here, just like with the upper ball joint and control arm, you'll need to take a jack or a jack stand and pry up on this before torquing this down. I believe this is also 111 foot-pounds. I'm not for sure on that. But just like with the other side, if you don't torque this down properly and don't put a load on the bottom of the strut here, you can cause premature wear of the ball joint and the bushings. Additionally, this little bushing thing back here where you had to remove those 15 millimeter nuts, this one, I believe you either loosen or tighten that nut back there. I'm not for sure. And that's all there is to replacing the lower control arm / ball joint on your 2004 Mercury Grand Marquis GS, though this could apply to any Panther as a whole. And remember, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, praise, criticism, etc. about this video, but no flames or bullcrap, hit me up in the comments section. If you have any questions about the Ford Panther platform as a whole, which covers the Ford Crown Victoria, Mercury Grand Marquis and Marauder, and the Lincoln Town Car, hit up one or more of the following web forums or Facebook groups if web forums are not your forte: crownvic.net, crownvic.ca, grandmark.net, cvpi.org, and or the United Panther Owners Association. Either way, search all the forums, make an account on them, sign up, post your questions, and the fine folks at either medium or either forum, myself included, will be happy to answer any questions you have in a timely manner. As always, the subscribe button, thumbs up, thumbs down button, etc. are at the bottom of every YouTube video now. Mine are no exception. Look down at the bottom of the video for the subscribe button, hit it, and you can subscribe to me. You can see any new videos that I put on YouTube. They will be in your news feed and in your weekly YouTube digest emails. You can also thumbs up and thumbs down each video as you please. This has been Adventure Link. We're going to close this video out as always by quoting Eric the Car Guy and saying, be safe, have fun, and stay dirty. And a couple more from me. If it happens to be cold outside, stay warm. If it's wet, stay dry. Don't forget to scan your spoo and sometimes your P-slip. See you next time. Have a nice day.